It is my absolute pleasure to welcome our esteemed panel guests today in Dr. Ali Al-Shubraz and Dr. Alexia Cardona. Welcome, Ali and Alexia, and thank you both first and foremost for your time today. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you both. Thank you, Alexia. If you could introduce yourself and your role to the audience first, that would be great.
Hi, thanks, Daniel. So I'm Alexia Cardona. I'm a training program lead for data science at the University of Cambridge. In my role, I teach different data science related topics at the university to different audiences, and I also organize short courses. I also called Elixir, mainly working on improving teaching and learning practices in this area, with the ultimate goal to facilitate the skills required in this domain.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you ever so kindly. And Ali, welcome once again. It's not your first webinar on this on the Career Accelerator series that we've been running, but thank you once again. And the audience would love to know more about yourself as well.
Thank you very much, Daniel. Good afternoon, good evening. I can see that people all over the world joining us. It's Ali Shehbaz. I'm the academic director for digital skills courses at the University of Cambridge Institute of Continuing Education. We are running this course alongside other courses in the future, part of the digital skills and digital portfolio courses here at the Institute of Continuing Education. And I'm going to lead the course, and student learner will join us, will be in touch with me and my colleagues, Alexia and other course leaders. Welcome.
And thank you. It has been an absolute pleasure working with you and the team on establishing this as the first Career Accelerator. As you mentioned, we look forward to welcoming, supporting and celebrating the success of learners as we go through, but it's been an absolute pleasure working with you and your team to date as well. I've got some questions for you first, but we do encourage mostly the audience to pop their questions in the Q&A, not the chat function. We'll use that for intros and links. And I guess I'll ask Alexia first, why data science and what makes this a critical skill to have in the digital economy?
Why data science? So data science is one of the most in-demand fields in the modern economy. And because of that, data science careers are in high demand. And there is a low supply of people working in this area. So with a high demand, low supply situation, choosing a data science career will essentially place you in a competitive position in securing a job in this field. And there are lots of jobs out there waiting for a data scientist. And because of this, the average salaries in this area are also better than other areas. Organizations and businesses in nearly every industry are looking for data scientists because everything is becoming increasingly data-driven. And the amount of data that a business and an organization generates every year is growing, and therefore there will need people with the right data science skills to be able to process, analyze and interpret this data, and to help also make the right business decisions. The other point, I also think why data science, it's because it's interdisciplinary, and because of that it's versatile. Once you have gained the core data science skills, you can apply these to different case studies and industries. So, for example, you can go and work in different sectors like finance, healthcare, fintech, astronomy, environment. It can be applied in areas across different types of industries. And I think that's a big advantage. as by studying data science, you essentially have the peace of mind that the skills and knowledge you have gained can be applied in the area of your choosing.
Fantastic. You've touched on some really salient points there, and I'll ask Ali, I guess, the second part of that question as to what excites you about this field in particular.
Thank you very much, Daniel. It's actually data science. Actually, I would like just to, I don't want to replicate Alexia's, and I agree with what she said. It's a cornerstone in today's digital economy, and acting as a catalyst for innovation, strategic decision-making, operational improvement across virtually every industry sector. And the importance of data science, actually, its ability to transform vast and complex data sets into actionable insight in order to driving the efficiency of an organization, innovation, and also competitive advantages. And also, there are some reasons why we are using data science and the skills we need to address for the economies. And in addition to what Alexia said, the data-driven decision-making, also innovation and competitive edge. It means that data science techniques enable businesses to identify new opportunities, optimize product and services, and also tailor experiences to meet customers' need, and all of that for the benefit of the business. And who's going to do that? Data scientists, and they need the skills. And this course being carefully designed, and from day one we did engage with through 4thRev with the industry to design the course. So it's not something off the shelf, fully academic. No, it's a mix between academia and industry, and we will elaborate more in the coming questions. Also, it's the operational efficiency in terms of the how actually automate the data analysis and make the employment predictive models to reduce the cost, to improve the service delivery, all of that, and it depends on the sector. So it's a combination between academia, industry, and the personal interest and the experience. So it's kind of, there is a uniqueness for each person who will find a way out of this course to improve their career, increase their salary as Alexia mentioned, and also find a niche area for them to help their organizations.
That's a fantastic overview and insights, Ali. And it made me think also, with what you were saying about efficiency improvement, customer analysis, customer reactions, the one thing also I think that is so undervalued today throughout business, but that data scientists can certainly provide, is agility as well. The agility to use data to predict or to make decisions, as you correctly pointed, is such a necessary business imperative these days that's so hard to do without clean, timely, accurate, and data that is presented for decision making, which we'll touch on a little later. It just made me think of that agility aspect that is so critical. Thank you. Alexia, so why is an understanding of statistics so critical to data scientists, especially those working in industry?
So statistics is one of the pillars of data science. I mean, data science without statistics, I can't see it working. And it's because it enables the identification of patterns, relationships, and trends in a data set. So having the statistical knowledge and skill is a big asset. Data on its own is not much useful. It is the information inside it that makes it invaluable. And if you think the success of a business is becoming increasingly reliant on decisions made on data-driven insights. For example, businesses are looking at what customers are purchasing, what's trending. So a solid understanding of statistics ensures that these decisions are based on accurate and reliable information. This, and I emphasize this, is also especially useful in complex and large data sets. Because of course, it's not practical to just look at your data in a large data set and try to understand all these relationships in the data. So that's where you need statistics to start making sense of things. And I would also like to add that statistics is not just about doing a test on the data. And this is something we emphasize, especially in the course, and we teach additional things on top of this. It is also about, as a data scientist, you understand the problem and present solutions to help make the right strategic decisions for a company. There is a good example that shows that a statistical test on its own is not enough, and I'm going to briefly say this for an example. So in the 1960s, there were some studies that showed that coffee drinkers had higher rates of lung cancer than those who did not drink coffee. Now, without careful consideration, one might conclude that coffee causes lung cancer. However, this particular analysis contained a confounding variable, which was smoking, which of course later it was found out that it was the actual cause of lung cancer. But this example underscores the importance of careful consideration in drawing conclusion for statistical analysis. And this is something we will do throughout the course, having the business mindset about things. The success of a business is becoming increasingly reliant on decisions made on data-driven insights. And therefore, these are essential skills that one needs to know. As part of the Data Science Career Accelerator, in fact, the first course is specifically on statistics. It's about applying statistics and core data science techniques in business. And we will learn together what statistical thinking is, what value does this approach add to business. We will learn how to identify potential issues caused by a lack of critical thinking in problem analysis and solution planning, how to select and apply relevant statistical techniques. You will also learn about feature engineering. And finally, we will conclude course 1 by learning about unsupervised learning and how we can use it to solve business problems. And I think all this will provide you with the core statistical techniques and concepts that will help you in your journey to become effective data scientists.
Fantastic. And as you've outlined so articulately, it's that business alignment and business application in a practical sense that we'll go into in a moment that sets this program apart as well. My next question is to Ali. What will learners be able to do at the end of the program in a two-part question? How does the curriculum prepare you to confront the realities of being a data scientist in the world of business?
Yes, thank you, Daniel. I actually, it's important question, so we need to explain to the applicant or the learners. By the end of the Cambridge Data Science Career Accelerator program, the learner will have developed a comprehensive skills sets that include, for example, mastering advanced data science tools, techniques, statistical concepts. Also, in addition to that, they will gain a real world experience through projects and portfolios. including live projects with an organization such as Bank of England. We have also worked with SAS as a company. In addition to that, the program emphasizes the cultivating of commercial thinking and the ability to apply data science models in business context. That is actually the outcome, what we have gained, where Forthref did the market research. It's the business concept linking to the data science models. And alongside with the awareness of a legal, moral, and ethical responsibility in technology. And as I mentioned, out of the market research we did, we found that there is a need in the market to create a course which address the following skills, and we have to make sure that the learner gain these skills. For example, as Alexia mentioned, interdisciplinary nature of a data science. What does that mean? And are we going just to learn mathematics, statistics, computer science only? Or no, it's going to be, there is a diverse pathway for innovation and exploration with other sectors. So for example, they mentioned the data sets from financial sectors, health sectors. How can we deal with that? So the learners will find themselves by the end of this course or during this course, create for themselves a career. Yes, they will learn the techniques, the statistics, the mathematics, but also there will be some personal aspect on their career. Also, we are going to teach them that how the data science make an impact on society by, for example, improving the healthcare outcomes, predictive analysis for addressing the climate change, or by analyzing the environmental data. But there is a potential to contribute positively to the world, both inspiring and motivating people. The other thing, they will learn or solve complex problem, and that is really by itself as a challenge. So the challenge of solving complex problem or a real world problem using data science is actually intellectually stimulating. And whether we going to use the transportation network, forecasting economic trend, or for example, advanced scientific research, the problem of addressing by a data science both of them are actually varied and impactful. And then working with the company, it helps us, like Forthref, helps us to get insightful view from other company during the market research. So based on the market research we did, we designed the curriculum and we address this gap within the market. And for that reason, actually, we think the curriculum being designed based on a real world issue, problems, and also we are keen to train, to put the learner in a real world situation, to bring to them a raw data has not been used before, and we ask you to do the portfolio or the assignment. So for that reason, we are keen to split that to two parts. That you will gain academic skills and industrial skills at the same time. Thank you.
Brilliant. And in what we team as the capability quadrant, there is the technical skills, as you've mentioned, the business application of those skills. Furthermore, there is also the personal development and growth embedded within that. And lastly is the employability. And I'll touch on that certainly in much more depth a little later with an overview of the career coaching model that is embedded and that learners participate with throughout the program. and the outcomes of that we've seen on other career accelerators are nothing short of inspiring. My next question, and it's great to see so many questions coming through. I might even cut our questions a little short to get to some of the questions from the audience, which are much more important than mine, I feel. One moment. So I guess, Alexia, can you give us an overview of what the course covers and how practical it is, or do we want to combine that with the second question? Let's just go with that one first. We've touched on the practical nature, but is there anything that you'd like to add to that?
No, I think Ali has already given a very good overview. I think that the practical nature of the course, the fact that the participants of this course will have the opportunity to experience what they have learned in the life working with industry. I think that's the biggest asset really of this course. Of course, the teaching is also very good, and because it goes above what you would normally maybe find on Google, you know, and this easy resources that you can find, because it has been tailored with the application of the business application in mind, and really thinking about those core skills that one needs to excel in this area. I am looking at the overview of the program at the moment, and I can briefly introduce you to how the course is categorized. So the course has essentially an orientation part where participants are familiarized with the digital campus, and you will be introduced with each other, and you will connect with fellow learners to plan your studies. It then has the actual academic aspect that Ali was mentioning. So it's divided into 3 courses. The first course is the one I talked about previously when you were asking me about statistics, because it is actually about statistics. It is about applying statistics and core data science techniques in business. The second course is about solving business problems and supervised learning. So there it's about machine learning concepts, and we will look at all the most widely used techniques, so in supervised, essentially, machine learning. So we will be looking at decision trees, for example, random forest neural networks and deep learning, which are very much in trend at the moment, and all other techniques that can help us predict and use more the AI capabilities of the industry. Course 3 is about applying advanced data science techniques. So here we will look at natural language processing, and we will also looking at ML Ops, which is more about modeling, and time series analysis and forecasting. So those are the 3 main courses. As Ali mentioned, after that is the industry experience. It's a live business project. If I remember, it's 6 weeks. Ali can correct me about this. But the good thing about it, we have a leading industry, so like the Bank of England, who will be giving the opportunity to work for 6 weeks on a project with them. And this is about learning by doing, right? It's not just learning, but we actually then do it. And I do believe that is the whole added benefit and added value of the whole course.
You're exactly right. And in parallel with the employer project is an additional module on the future of data science with generative AI and ChatGPT and so forth. And I'll round out a little bit more in depth, also an overview after the panel discussion surrounding that as well. I'm going to finish up, Ali, with, I guess, this question regarding what tools, software and languages will learners obtain or utilize and learn during the Career Accelerator?
Yes, thank you, Daniel. Before I answer this question, I would like to add that during course 1 and 2 and 3, every week the learner will be in touch with the academic. So, for example, in course 1, Alexia is going to be the course leader. Also, there will be industry mentor will help Alexia to pass their experience, their industrial experience, to the learner. So the learner, when they finish course 1 and 2 and 3, they already be in touch with an academics and an industry expert. So when they start in course 4, the employer project, they already have gained an experience from the industry. So it is natural progression will have. So they will have an idea exactly what they are going to do for the project. So facing the industry experts, it's not at the end, it's from day one and on a weekly basis. In terms of the tools, for your question, Daniel, tools, software, and languages, I think Alexia did mention that, but we are really heavily relying on Python. And the platform, the tools we're going to use is a Google Colab, JobTears Notebook, of course, GitHub. These are the tools we are going to use. For that reason, we did ask the applicants to do a self-assessment in Python, just to make sure that you are at a certain level, intermediate level, or advanced basics, intermediate level. So if you feel you need, I think Fortrev already recommended to you some resources to improve your skills in Python, because it's expected that you know how to use Python, and we are going to focus on developing the model, statistical model, AI model, supervised and unsupervised, and dealing with the data, rather than developing your Python skills. So make sure to use these free resources provided by Fortrev to develop your skills in Python, please, because be familiar with the type of libraries we are going to use. So the common library, and any new library will introduce it to you through the course, but you need to demonstrate that you are at the intermediate level in Python. Also, we are going to at course 3 NLP time series analysis as well. At course 4 generative AI, it's going to be crucial material within the course. So and it's not only, as I mentioned, it's not only going to learn software and languages, it's how to utilize them with the skills you learn about statistical model and supervised and unsupervised learning for the benefit of the business. That is the outcome of this course. Thank you.
Brilliant. And you touched on some really important points. We're going to get to the audience Q&A now. And regarding the entry criteria and the Python requirements, I'll touch on that afterwards, but also in the Q&A, there'll be a link to book a time with your friendly enrollment advisor that will walk you through either those requirements or the assets that we can provide to bring your skills up to speed. So you spend day one learning data science, not learning Python from scratch. So on to the audience Q&A. Some of the questions I'm going to defer to my section after this, when I give a much more in-depth overview of the actual nitty-gritty of the application process and so forth. So Darren's asked a couple of questions here. I'll get to Darren's question first. Does this enable a career as a machine learning engineer, Ali?
Yes. In course 1 with Alexia, we're gonna address the dealing with the data and machine learning engineering in course 2 as well, for the unsupervised learning, and supervised learning in course 3. But we are not going to teach you how these machine learning algorithm being developed. We are going to teach you there are a ready-made library, how you are going to utilize these libraries for the benefits of the certain data sets. That is the concept. So let me just rephrase that. You are not going to learn how to develop a new machine learning or a machine learning algorithms. You are going to use an existing libraries to deal with the data sets and apply the skills you learned for the benefit of the data set or the sector.
And further to that, yeah, a lot of machine learning engineers use SQL. Is that a feature of the program? SQL?
Sorry, which question? I missed that. Is that the next one?
So I've got Darren's question further. I'll read it out verbatim. I understand a machine learning engineer uses mostly SQL or SQL. Is that right? And is it a feature of the course?
Yes. I will just repeat what I have said. There will be SQL, of course, but we are not going to teach you that. You are going to use them to deal with the data sets.
Perfect. Anonymous has asked here, and this is for you yourself, Alexia. They've said, essentially, you need statistical background for this program. Without it, this program is not for everyone. Is my understanding correct?
So you will need some form of statistical background. However, throughout the first 6 weeks of the program, we will be refreshing most of them. So we might not go into all the detail, like simple statistics, what we call descriptive statistics, like doing a mean, for example. We will assume that people already know. And let's say you don't know, if you Google it, you can easily know how to do that. The benefit of the first 6 weeks is to look into the most popular statistical techniques that we use in data science. For example, in the last week, for example, we will look into k-means clustering. And that we will go, so you don't need to know that before, because we will go literally step by step on how to do it. But of course, if you have a bit of statistical background, that always helps. But I do encourage those who do not have, you are not expected to have a degree in statistics to apply for this course. So basic statistics, what is known as descriptive statistics, will which nowadays, in secondary O level or college level is introduced. That should be enough to be able to follow the statistical part of the course, because then we will look into details on the most popular statistical techniques that we will introduce.
Wonderful. I'm going to group a number of questions together here for myself and Ali to answer. I'll pick the one that sort of covers it all regarding the level or certification. So a number of people have asked about certification, focusing on the academic part of the tuition. At what level is the teaching done? Similarly, at what level can the certificate be categorized into postgrad, cert, masters, et cetera, et cetera. So it is rigorous. It's 7 months of a time commitment that I'll go through shortly and explain the flexible nature of the asynchronous component. But it's a certification from Cambridge that will be recognised, obviously, at that certification level. It is aimed at postgraduate level learning, because the entry criteria does require an undergraduate degree with quantitative units of study. But Ali, is there anything else you'd like to add regarding clarification surrounding the outcome in terms of the certification for learners?
Thank you, Daniel, and thanks for this important question. Yes, this is a career accelerator, and the learner will get a certification from Cambridge. And when we designed this course, that's it's categorized as a PG cert. So this is level 7 kind of in terms of designing the curriculum. But the learner will receive the certificate of completion from Cambridge, from Institute of Continuing Education.
Correct. It won't bear credit towards further study.
No, this is none award bearing. Yeah.
Correct. So it is a certification. I guess the other component to this is the industry reflection, the industry recognition as well. So what I mean by that is, with so many industry leaders with a lens on this, and even participation in the design of the content and research prior to even commencing the design of the content, there are many, many industry leaders seeking to see how not only how the program goes, but also understanding the opportunities of potential employment for learners following completion. So that answered about 5 of the questions, and I'm certainly happy to extrapolate out on that furthermore after the last couple of questions. Austin's got a question regarding the flexibility. I'll touch on that because your individual circumstances I'll address as well. Austin, what type of role?
Sorry, I would like to comment on Austin's question. This is important. When we design the course, the expectation of the engagement is high. It's a 20 to 22, around 20 hours a week. And all learners will be monitored through attending the synchronous session, the discussion board, because we do need you to have the best experience and to find a better job or improving your salary. And that's not going to happen if you are not going to fully engage. You give that, because if you leave Austin 3 weeks, it means you're going to cover 60 hours, and that's really difficult. However, we will have a reg and regulation rules within, if you would like to have a leave, that's going to be authorized from the head of tutor as well. Yeah.
It's a good point. And Austin, well, for everyone's benefit, to elaborate on exactly what you said, there is a blend of synchronous and asynchronous learning, with the majority being asynchronous, meaning it is designed to fit in with the individual rather than them always fitting in with the university timetable. However, there are the synchronous events that do occur are held weekly, and there's a choice between the times in which people can attend, engaging with the academics, as you said earlier, engaging with the industry mentor as well during that period, asking questions, hearing what other learners are questioning and picking up on that as well. If someone misses the live synchronous sessions for a birthday or whatever it might be, you can catch them up on record thereafter. But Austin, 3 weeks is probably setting you back a fair way. The only thing I would say is it's worth a discussion with your enrolment advisor as well to see when the 3 weeks lie. There are 1 week reflection periods between each of the courses, and there's a 1 week break in between the midway point of course 3 as well. But that being said, Austin, we also offer future presentations of the program at 2 additional points during the year as well. More questions coming through, which is brilliant. So, what type of job outcomes or roles can we potentially apply for after the course? Alexia, I might ask yourself that one. It's self-explanatory in some ways, but there's other roles that people may not be fully aware of as well.
So the roles, it depends, of course, on the sectors and the different companies. So as both me and Ali mentioned, data science, it's interdisciplinary. So essentially, it can be applied to different areas. So if you are interested, for example, in the financial industry, banking, for example, they would have roles, either data scientist or data analyst, but they might have also more specific roles. Machine learning scientists, or roles like that, quantitative analysts, for example, as well. So it depends again on the different sectors. In the health sector, you can come across roles such as bioinformatician, for example. However, that's why it's important on the experience. The different knowledge about that domain, you gain it when working in that domain, or by, of course, reading more and learning about that particular domain. But the good thing is it lends itself into different areas. And again, I would expect, my advice would be, when looking at the jobs, look at the skills they are looking for, because it would have they would have a job description with the key knowledge, skills, and abilities that they are expecting that person would have. And if you are, after this course, if you read those bits and you are understanding what they are, then of course you are qualified for that job. But again, I would start with a generic search in these, in the job search platforms as data scientist or data analyst. That's where I would start. And of course, then you might identify some leading companies, and then you can keep an eye on jobs in those companies and look at those skills sections to see if it's something that you are competent and comfortable in.
Fantastic. I'm going to get through some more, and just to recognize that some of the questions I'm going to pose after the top of the hour, I'll say farewell to Ali and Alexia. But we want to whip through a couple more if we can. And this is a two-part question from Sian, I assume. Many data scientist jobs require 2 years of experience. What sort of jobs would this qualify learners for? I'll come to that a little later, and also Alexia's answered most of that just now. But Ali, specifically for yourself, throughout the program, there's no examinations. Learners are instead empowered to build a portfolio. And Sian's mentioned that. How would that be useful, and what would that look like to present to future employers?
Thank you. It's a good question, and thanks for highlighting the portfolio, because that's exactly what we intend to do when we did the market research, is so that the learner outcomes it's not going to gain only a certificate. The portfolio, it will be the evidence for future employer that is, I have done that over 7 months in Cambridge working with this particular employer datasets, and that's the evidence. And of course, we'll be happy to act as a reference for you as a graduate from this course to give you that. But that's exactly when we designed the course, is to create the portfolio as an evidence. In terms of the 2 years experience, we ask part of the recommendation to be in this course as in the admission. We ask for 1 to 2 years experience as a data analyst or working in similar industry, because this course, it's not designed for people who they haven't practiced that. They should have some experience, and we help them to accelerate their career, and that is exactly what we intend to do. So once you be in this course, you are going to gain some experience working with the industry experts, and the portfolio will be the evidence for future employers.
That's exactly right. And I'm going to touch on the support around the career coaching to help those either accelerating or they're existing or making a shift towards data science as well. The last question, I've held you up longer than we intended, not held you up, but I've engaged with you longer than we intended. but I'll stick around for everyone's continued questions. Ilke's asked, in the AI era, which is growing exponentially and taking a human impact on most industries, how data science position to them in the future? And I guess what we want to touch on here to answer Ilke's question is also how is Gen AI and other technologies such as that developed within the program, which makes it, I guess, the freshest content available in that regard. Sorry.
Well,
Ali.
it's a good question. It's about, but when we designed the curriculum, we were keen to involve the machine learning, and at the end we're going to use a generative AI. So the data, because I think any data scientist should have the tools of AI to utilize in order to help to play with the data, get the and extract the knowledge from this data. Because now any industry, they have their own kind of data or data structure or unstructured data. So now the role of the data scientist is to make these kind of data from different sectors are valuable to the industry by utilizing machine learning and generative AI tools. So part of the course curriculum, yes, you're going to utilize, as I mentioned, machine learnings and generative AI tools.
Exactly, and Daniel's touched on that at the bottom there. Daniel, as Ali's articulated, and furthermore, there is nervousness around people thinking and concerned regarding technology making some roles redundant. I'm old enough to remember the launch of Microsoft Office suite of software, and I do still recall people being nervous about Excel making accountants redundant. It certainly didn't. It is going to be it is already a tool that is going to help people become not only much more efficient in the way in which they go about their finding solutions to work, but also having the skill to enhance that, but add the human element with the empathy required within business, within customer interaction, and all those sorts of things that a skilled data scientist has will certainly be enhanced in that regard. I'll just get through one or two more questions. Are you right, or are you short of time, Ali or Alexia? Do you need to go?
No, I'm okay.
Okay, that's wonderful. Thank you. I'll touch on the career coaching in a moment regarding someone's asked what measures are in place to support that. I'll talk a little bit more about the project at the end if you'd like, and feel free, Ali or Alexia, to contribute as well. Taking the practical learning from the first 3 and the 4th course in the future of data science, and being then assigned a team or being a part of a team of 4 or 5 other high caliber learners, being introduced to the project that the companies such as Ali has mentioned, Bank of England, SAS, Pure Gym, and others will then present to you as a team regarding real scenarios that they face regarding both publicly and privately held data sets in which to work with, and as a team coming up with innovative intangible solutions to those challenges and scenarios over a 6-week project, which is quite reflective of industry as well, and then presenting the findings and recommendations. The benefits are numerous. Firstly, it is a fantastic way to practically apply furthermore the skills obtained during the first 4 courses of the program. Secondly, it deepens the opportunity of networking both with your high caliber peers, but also industry leaders who are often looking to recruit talent potentially as well. And lastly, it's a storytelling in data, storytelling in an interview is some of the most powerful things that you can do. So for those that are concerned without being able to express their experience moving into a data science role or similar, picture yourself in an interview when they say, how was the course with Cambridge? And you say, it was amazing. We went through this practical process of portfolio development, and here's the outcome. And lastly, we met with Bank of England, and this is the project and the challenge they presented. Here's the innovative recommendations and solutions that we came up with and the potential impact that that has. That is a much, much more powerful demonstration of one's value to a potential employer than, say, reciting an examination result we feel could ever be. And stories such as that, and especially stories involving data, are much more memorable in an interview, especially. And you'll be coached as to how to position that a great deal as well. Anything else that you'd like to add to the employer project, Ali or Alexia? Or did I cover enough then?
No, yeah, it's you covered that very well, Daniel. Also, by the end of, for example, course 1, there will be, we call it mini project, course 2 and course 3. So, as I mentioned, the industry mentor will help you through the 3 courses before you start with the project. So you will gain some experience about how you're going to deal with a project. So you are not going to be alone, or it's not something that's going to happen suddenly. It's a gradually over the 3 courses. There will be many projects in the 3 courses. Then the final project is going to be based on data from the employers, and you work with it. And also, we're going to also the discussion board. I should mention that it's there will be peer review between you as a learners to learn from each other. That is important. As Daniel mentioned, there will be a personal development as well, because in the data science, there isn't any straightforward answer. It's a discussion and an opinion utilizing different kind of models, and then we come up with the conclusion. This is the optimum solution for this particular problem. For that reason, as I mentioned, for the project, it's going to happen gradually when you reach to the project.
Fantastic. We are at time for the panel. I'm going to thank you in a moment, and I'm going to stick around for other questions and a further overview of the time commitment, the career coaching, the application process, and costs, and also the payment plans that are available for learners. So do stick around for a few moments afterwards for anyone that would like that additional information. And for those of you that cannot stick around, please do download the brochure that is linked in the chat, and also book a time with your enrolment advisor, and it could even be myself or one of the team. And also there is the application link should you wish to apply, but I'd like to talk you through that process before you do. Before we get to the top of the hour very, very quickly, Alexia and Ali, thank you ever so kindly for being our guests today to give the audience an overview of this most new but also most innovative career accelerator in data science, in collaboration with the Institute of Continuing Education and Fourth Rev. It has been my absolute pleasure, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, Daniel. Thanks.
Thank you, Daniel.
Thank you. For everyone else, thank you also for your attendance. I'll keep going with the specific process regarding the application if required, the costs and the career coaching. So to give the brief synopsis or bring it all together for everyone, it is a co-designed process between industry and the Institute of Continuing Education. It's made up of those 4 courses in industry employer project. Course 1 and 2 go for 6 weeks, and there's a week's reflection in between. And then course 3 is longer with a 1-week break in between before then you undertake the employer project piece at the end that we've mentioned. It is rigorous. It is designed to accelerate your career, both through the technical learning, the business application of learning, the personal growth development, and also the employability aspect. But there's a great deal of support in the program, more so than I think anyone would possibly realise. First and foremost, we nurture and foster an environment in which you support each other that Ali touched on. So that's one tier of support, firstly. There's the academic support on that live weekly session from the academics, such as Alexia and others, and the industry-based mentor that will also attend those live sessions. Next, there's a success manager who you'll get to know really well. You'll have a regular check-in with, and they'll help you design an individualized study plan to ensure that you can commit the time required around your other life commitments or work, but also just keep you on track and be proactive in their support of you as well. They'll use data to support you and might reach out if it's unlike you, where you haven't logged on for a few days. That might be a data variance point. They'll reach out proactively and treat you much more like a customer, I guess, in that regard. Then there is the executive career coach. This is a really important part of the program, because it's one thing to learn the technical and the business application, but then framing that for your benefit and the acceleration of your career requires coaching to enable that to occur, we feel. So the third week of orientation will actually be a week-long process of goal setting, rigorous goal setting, of which then you'll be introduced to your career coach, who you'll meet regularly throughout the program in a one-on-one 50-minute session. It's not, shall I say, it's not just about resume writing or profiling or things like that. It is a much deeper process of learning, and also customizing their coaching of you toward your intended outcome, be that to advance your existing career or to change or whatever it may be. And that's diving deep into things like your values and providing tools that will help you obtain your intended outcome, hopefully much sooner, but also have those tools for any role that you apply for in the future. We've ran career accelerators with other institutes for quite some time now, and the learner feedback is always one of surprises to the value of the career coaching that they didn't realise often when commencing the program. Then I'm going to still feel free to pop your questions in. I'm going to always answer them, but I'll get to the other main points about the program as well. So it is rigorous. It is 20 hours per week, but it is designed to fit in with you more so than you fit in with university, meaning that the majority of that is asynchronous. And with the support of all the support structures that I've mentioned, you will be able to work ways in which to fit that in with your other priorities in life as well. But 20 hours is a big commitment. But 20 hours over a 7-month period to accelerate your career into a fantastic new role as a data scientist, for example, is well worth that investment of time and money as well. For the finances behind the program, the fees are £8,000, and that includes everything. All the tools that you'll use and the executive career coaching, of which there are 6 sessions, individual sessions throughout the program. And you're part of then also the 4th Rev and Cambridge community afterwards, that there'll be additional masterclasses and value add that we provide ongoing thereafter as well. We can support you, and we want to make it accessible. So we can support you with either 6 or 9 monthly payment plans with no fees and no interest, or should you be a UK citizen or resident with a visa for more than 3 years, we do partner with EdAid to offer a 24-month payment plan that is subject to finance application, but again, there's no fees and no interest associated with that. To learn more about that process, if of interest, click the link in the chat to book a time with your enrolment advisor as well. Otto or myself and some of the other team will be there to support and talk you through the requirements of that, which we think is fantastic value for such a rigorous program over the period of time that it provides, the learning outcomes, and as I've mentioned, the quadrant of learning surrounding the technical, the employability, the personal growth, and the business application of the learning as well. I'm going to look at some questions as well before I just touch on the application criteria and process. Someone's asked, yes, would there be a discount for people who've done other 4th Rev courses? Yes, there is. There's a 10% discount for 4th Rev alumni if you've completed our Data Analytics Career Accelerator, for example. Absolutely, we would love to welcome you as a valued lifelong learner. For individuals who are undertaking a course from a complete career pivot, what measures are in place to support them? That's a really good question. And while some data-aligned experience is required as part of the entry criteria that I'll touch on, the ability to identify through the coaching your transferable skills is a key component of that coaching of the coaching outcomes. So yes, there's a whole lot of new skills obtained, but everyone has transferable skills in which sometimes you don't think of as to how relevant they may be in a role such as this once you overlay the technical skills obtained. So through that process of identification and the support then in preparing you to position that in the best way possible, giving you the best chance possible of obtaining your desired role, is exactly the role of the career coach and is of great value as well. Will there be a break if we need to go on holiday? So Ilki's asked a similar question to what we had earlier. There is 1 week breaks in between the courses and a week's break at the halfway point of course 3. So if you have a short break during those times, absolutely. If it's a day or two either side, certainly. If it's 3 weeks, we probably feel that you'd look at our second presentation toward the middle of the year, or later in the year, we'll have a third presentation as well. Getting the best part of 60 hours behind is very, very challenging. So again, talk to your enrolment advisor though. They'll be able to look at the calendar and say, on the week you're looking to be away, yeah, it's a reflection week. Put your feet up on the beach, have a pina colada or whatever it is that you'd like to do. You'll be fine to come back. If it's more than that, obviously, would need to discuss that further. Na has asked about the main project, and I've touched on that one. Someone's asked, they're not working in data science but would like to learn it. Yes, you can still apply, pending that you meet the entry criteria. So essentially the entry criteria is that you have completed an undergraduate degree that contains a quantitative unit of study, that you've got a year's experience in understanding data. It doesn't necessarily need to be in a scientist role or an analyst role, although beneficial, but a data-aligned role where you've utilised data to some extent previously and have an understanding of the sourcing, wrangling and presenting of data would be ideal. But again, talk to your enrolment advisor. And lastly, there is the requirement of having that, I guess, basic to intermediate in that realm of Python. We can, if you don't have Python skills yet, we can provide free resources that will get you up to speed. Or there is a technical test if you just want to understand if your current Python skills are of the level required, then we can certainly provide you a technical test of about 30 odd minutes or so to test that as well. But the idea behind that is that you hit the ground running, learning data science, not necessarily it doesn't need to be advanced Python skills, but certainly enough to be able to make full use of the learning from day one rather than learning Python. But again, talk to your enrolment advisor. We will be able to assist your individual circumstances regarding that as well. The last component of the application process. So once you've uploaded your transcript of your undergraduate or postgraduate studies, you've answered the question regarding your Python experience, there is a 1-page personal statement that's a really important part of the application process. It's not War and Peace or anything like that. It's 1 page, about 3 or 4 questions that we would like to understand more about yourself. I highly recommend the first step is to chat with your enrolment advisor, but if you want to go straight ahead and apply, there will be a link in the chat as well. But the 1-page personal statement is really, really important because it enables the assessing of your application over and above what is self-evident in your academic background or your professional background. It also enables them, once successful, your success manager and career coach, for example, to look at that, to read your story, so to speak, and develop any empathy that may be required, or just to get an understanding of what it is that you're striving to achieve, so that at the first appointment they have with you, they've got that understanding, that little bit of background, and can start framing their coaching and view towards your intended outcome immediately as well. It is a career accelerator, so we do hope that not only the skill development but your career outcomes are accelerated, obviously, as well. So academic background, professional experience in the form of your resume, and a one-page personal statement. The process from there is that will be assessed. You'll be issued feedback on your application or a letter of offer. And then the payment plans that you prefer would be discussed with your enrolment advisor. A 10% deposit is payable. There's only 40 placements available for the first presentation, and from memory, we're close to 80% capacity now. But talk to your enrolment advisor. The 10% deposit will secure your placement, and then you would be introduced to the success team who will nurture you through to the commencement of the onboarding process. Wonderful. I'm going to just check if there are any other questions. We've touched on the career change aspect and the types of jobs that we can apply for. Daniel, we've touched on the machine learning and AI solutions that are embedded within the program and utilised to demonstrate the currency of your skill sets as well, and embracing that change, which is most important. So Daniel's also asked, and thanks for your engagement, Daniel, and everyone. It's been brilliant. I'll get through the last couple and happy to answer any more as well. Daniel's asked, aside from the coaching and teamwork required for this course, what type of in-person or online networking opportunities will there be? I think one of the advantages of postgraduate program is getting to know like-minded professionals. That's brilliant. Absolutely, Daniel. And that is the cornerstone of the program. So firstly, what I haven't mentioned is that there is a series of masterclasses that are also held and live for you to engage with. We've hosted them already previously on different topics as well. And on our YouTube page, you'll find them under 4th Rev. But during the program, there'll be a series of masterclasses, and that may be a recruiter talking about navigating the world of recruitment agencies. It could be an employer discussing what they're looking for in modern data scientists. There'll be a whole host of different networking opportunities through those masterclasses. More importantly, you're networking weekly with globally leading academics, as you've heard today, and industry mentors. Lastly, the industry leaders that are also formulating the industry projects that you'll work on. The value of peer-to-peer networking should not be undervalued, and you certainly value it, Daniel. And the way in which that's done is through the community of peer-to-peer engagement all throughout the program. Peer-to-peer review of one's project, for example, which some people might think, oh, I'm not experienced enough, or how does that work? It's a fantastic outcome and enables deeper connection with your fellow learners. So you'll be engaging with them live with breakout sessions and all the things that we do within those weekly live sessions. The discussion boards and forums and mediums in which are used are continuously designed, or not continuously designed, they're continuously used for further engagement but amongst a peer group. And then lastly, as a team, you're obviously going to be much more deeply networking through working together on that industry-based project at the end. So I completely agree. I think the diverse nature of learners will also be of an attraction. I know many of the learners that have already committed and are joining, and am inspired by the variety of not only background but desired outcome, which I think is excellent as well. Someone's asked, is there a data analytics program at 4th Rev, and what are the main differences with the program? The content, yes, there is. We do have another data analytics program. The content is vastly different in one that is taking data science towards the prescriptive and predictive, and the analytics is very similar in some ways, in the sense that the structure is very similar. There's 3 courses and an industry project. With that, there's a whole array of alumni inspiring success stories that have come from that as it's more mature. We've been running that for, I think it's fast approaching 3 years now. So there's hundreds of learners that have obtained inspiring career outcomes from that. But one does focus on the analytical, not the scientific. So the content is extremely different in that regard. It's a similar level of rigor and commitment in terms of time, though. But thank you for asking the question, and feel free to click the book a time link, and the enrolment advisor will hand you to one of the analytics advisors or answer any questions that you may have as well. Lastly, I'm just going to speak to you directly about a decision. You've attended a session today that hopefully has given you an insight into the rigor behind the program, the level at which you'll be obtaining the skills, applying the skills in real scenarios, and the practical nature, which is a fantastic thing that you've done for yourself. The next thing I always implore people to consider is not only taking the next step, and that would be download a brochure, book the time with your enrolment advisor, or commit to your application, the application process, but also engage others around you in a decision such as this. It is a big commitment of time and financially, of course. We've made that as easy as we can with those interest-free payment plans, but engage with those that mean a lot to you, be it your colleagues, because there may be an impact on your ability to, I won't say work at all. We can work around your working, you can do this around your working hours, but things like the socializing that goes with work sometimes might have to take a backseat during the program. Family is really important, to engage with your family to say, I've found a perfect course to help me achieve my intended career outcome. But it involves 7 months of me committing heavily to study to achieve that for the benefit of us all as a family. I would like your buy-in into this decision and understand that Saturdays are going to be my study time, and you know, your buy-in into us achieving this to get together in a way is very important, and it could be the same with a partner or whatever. It is that reflective thinking, but it's also making a firm decision to invest in yourself through the most practical and up-to-date data science content available in this brand new Career Accelerator. So engage others, commit to yourself, commit to taking the next step, and engage with anyone else that can assist, especially myself or the team at Fourth Rev that will guide you through any additional questions that you may have. We hope to certainly welcome you to the program. We certainly hope we will support you in every way that we can throughout the program. And mostly, we look forward to celebrating your success when you achieve your intended career outcome, as we do with so many of our Career Accelerator graduates already. It has been my absolute pleasure. Take the next step, commit to yourself to having a fantastic 2024 through this new and innovative program, and we can't wait to celebrate your career success. Thank you all. Click the links and please complete the survey at the end. Lastly, you will also receive a recording regarding the industry project, and this recording and the slides from today as well. If there's anything we can help with, reach out at any time. Have a fantastic day and well done. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you, but also our guests as well. So, goodbye all.